Coming up,
the top job is about having the skills, the ability to lead an organisation.
taking on the toughest job in the country.
Organised crime, working with state actors.
So how will our new police chief
What is the single biggest threat that we face?
keep Australia safe?
It's ensuring that we've got the tools and the technology to counter it.
That's next on 60 Minutes.
By any measure, Krissy Barrett's rise through the ranks of the Australian Federal Police is impressive. 25 years ago, she started in the organisation as an intern. Just over a week ago, she became the Commissioner, the first woman in the AFP's history to hold the position. Of course, gender is not the reason she got the job. Commissioner Barrett is a highly skilled police officer who, as she tells Nine's Tracy Grimshaw, fully understands the responsibility she has and challenges she faces to keep Australians safe.
It's hard to keep up with Krissy Barrett. 6:45 on a Monday morning, and the new Commissioner is setting a cracking pace around Lake Burley-Griffin in our nation's capital. Our new top cop is certainly fit for purpose, and at least for now, happy to let Australians get to know her. Okay. Commissioner, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
You said that at one point you would have never imagined that you would hold this job. Have you got your head around it now?
Yes, I have got my head around it now, but that's how I was feeling at the time. I started with the AFP as a very young 21-year-old, and never did I think it would take me to the Commissioner role and leading an organisation as unique and as important to the Australian public as the AFP is.
It's been a little over 2 months since Prime Minister Anthony Albanese announced Krissy Barrett would be taking over the Australian Federal Police.
There is no greater honour than wearing the uniform of those that serve and protect Australians.
I invite you to take...
And a little over a week since she officially started in the role.
I, Krissy Lee Barrett, swear that I will be faithful and...
The first woman to lead the force in its 46-year history. Is that significant to you?
It is really significant to me, and what has been so amazing is how much support I've had from men and women all over the country, actually all over the world. You know, that's given me so much confidence and really lovely to be going into the role knowing that there's a lot of particularly young women who are inspired by my career journey and now me as the female commissioner.
That journey with the AFP began nearly 25 years ago with an action-packed internship that clearly made an impression.
I walked in the door on that first day. I was allocated to a crime team who were doing some pretty interesting investigative work, had the most amazing 12 weeks, and to the point that on the last day they actually had to almost physically push me out the door of the building to say, your 12 weeks is up. But from that moment on, I knew that that's exactly what I wanted to do.
I'm thinking you weren't stuck in the office for those 12 weeks.
We were definitely not stuck in the office. And I think back actually to some of the activities that we were involved in as interns. Certainly wouldn't be able to do it these days.
Like what?
So we went out on search warrants. We were used as part of search warrants. We were used as part of operational strategies out in the field. We got to go up and shoot firearms on the range. It was a warts and all look at what the AFP does.
Young Krissy Barrett was hooked, and what followed was a rapid ascent through the ranks of the Federal Police. Barrett has worked in financial crime, organised crime, counter-terrorism, espionage and foreign interference. She says her overarching motivation is to keep Australians safe. Do you acknowledge that people feel afraid at the moment?
I understand why people are feeling uneasy. The environment has changed really quickly.
The last 5 years have been volatile. The isolation of COVID lockdowns, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and war in the Middle East have all fed a global fracturing that's being felt in our suburbs. Krissy Barrett says hatred has a whole new set of triggers.
Our caseload has changed in terms of what is motivating people to move towards violent extremism and or terrorism. You know, if we go back 2 or 3 years ago, around about 80% of our work was religiously motivated violent extremism, and around 20% was ideologically motivated. Fast forward to today, we are now sitting at around 55% religiously motivated, around 35% is ideologically motivated, and around 9 or 10% what we describe mixed or unclear ideology. Often it's a grievance that is either attached to multiple ideologies that sometimes don't even make sense in conjunction with each other. So I think, you know, those stats in themselves are pretty stark in relation to what we've seen change in the environment.
It's cop talk, but at least part of what the Commissioner is referring to is the surge in anti-Semitic attacks in Australian cities and the rise of violence at protests.
I think just the thought of anyone living in our country or living in our community not feeling safe or not feeling valued in this country, we should all be concerned about that. So the role for the AFP is really quite clear in this respect. It is targeting any groups or individuals who are espousing hatred or causing fear. And as a consequence, we created new teams, national security investigations teams, to focus on the really critical role that we play around social cohesion.
Mike Burgess, the ASIO boss, said that the targeting of teenage boys for online recruitment by extremists and criminals is alarming. You obviously share his alarm. Why do you think teenage boys are targeted?
The young people that are being targeted generally, we see people who have either withdrawn from schooling or withdrawn from their friendship groups, spending a lot of time online, and then we see them, I guess, targeted by individuals or groups who are looking to use them to further a particular cause or ideology or a belief. We have seen examples where a young person didn't particularly have a strong ideology or a strong religious motivation. More, I would describe as having a grievance in general. And looking for a way to, I guess, act on that grievance. And that's where we get really concerned, where we see a young person who is very susceptible to being radicalised.
Last month, an 18-year-old in Brisbane was charged with terrorism offences after violent extremist material was allegedly found on his computer. Last year, a 16-year-old was charged in Sydney after he allegedly attacked a bishop during a live-streamed service at a church in the city's west. In the past 5 years, 46 young people have been investigated by the AFP, with the youngest just 12.
As a police officer, but also as a parent, it is confronting to acknowledge that a young person actually has the intent and the capability to carry out an act of violent extremism and or terrorism. But unfortunately, we have seen those examples and we have had to take action.
You have a son on the cusp of adolescence. Are you starting those conversations with him? I mean, are you worried about what he's going to be exposed to?
Yes, and he, like most preteen boys, does spend time on gaming platforms. It's a confronting conversation to have with your child because, they are still quite naive at that age and they do still see the positivity in the world. And it's almost like I wish I didn't have to have this conversation with you to tell you that there are people out there that are looking to do bad things and are looking to, potentially use you to do bad things. But this is the world that we live in, and these are the conversations that we need to be having.
Coming up, the hostile foreign regimes targeting us from afar. Is it destabilisation? Is it about messing with our peaceful way of life? Is that what it is?
I think taking advantage of what is a volatile environment.
The Australian Federal Police Office in Canberra is a typical public service rabbit warren.
So this is where it all happens.
This is where it all happens. This is AFP headquarters in Canberra.
But it's from here Commissioner Krissy Barrett and her team contend with those who want to do us harm. A job that she says gets bigger every year.
The breadth of your duties now, everything from running suburban police stations in Canberra to espionage and foreign interference and terrorism.
Yeah, we have a huge breadth of responsibility. If I think, when I first started in the AFP back in 2001, very much at that time it was a lot of drug importation work and a lot of fraud work. But of course we then had September 11, we then had the Bali bombings. We moved, quite into the terrorism space, the foreign interference space.
And of course, organised crime, where the AFP is currently targeting notorious crooks like Kazem Hamad. Deported from Australia to the Middle East in 2023, Hamad is believed to be the mastermind behind the tobacco wars exploding around the country. It's alleged he's pulling the strings from offshore on a booming $10 billion illicit industry, flourishing because of heavy taxes imposed by the government on legal cigarettes.
Does it frustrate you as a police officer to be policing this violent organised crime that has sprung up around a perfectly legal addiction?
I would say it is drawing a lot of policing resources, and when you see the impact that it's having on community safety.
Do you want to express an opinion about whether or not the excise should be reduced and so make illicit tobacco less appealing to people who are basically nicotine addicts?
I would just say we continue to work with our partners to target those.
The AFP got another $50 million in this year's budget to crack down on illicit tobacco trade. How are you going to use that money?
So a lot of our work is focused on taking the wealth out of illegal activity. We take their wealth away. So I think, for a while there was a belief that if they went overseas, they were no longer within our reach.
Some of them do seem to be doing quite well sitting overseas out of your reach, though. They seem to be living quite affluent lives and they're pulling the strings over here.
They remain ongoing targets of the AFP.
Are you saying watch this space?
I am saying always watch this space.
Kazem Hamad is a major target because Barrett and her colleagues believe he's a gangster for hire, implicated not just in the illicit tobacco trade, but also in foreign attacks here.
And this is where we just see the overlap of what traditionally used to be quite siloed crime types. So we're now seeing organised crime networks overlapping with state actors. We're seeing state actors task and pay organised criminals to carry out particular acts on their behalf for a variety of motivations and reasons.
In late August, the Prime Minister revealed the Iranian government was behind at least 2 anti-Semitic attacks on Australian soil.
These were extraordinary and dangerous acts of aggression orchestrated by a foreign nation.
Iran's ambassador to Australia was sensationally expelled. Amid revelations, the Iranians had allegedly used Hamad to orchestrate the attacks. It's just one example of how foreign regimes continue to threaten us.
When you look at the rise of conspiracy theorists, sovereign citizens, far-right extreme religious groups, what are the chances that there are foreign state actors pulling the strings on all of these movements to destabilise democracies?
I think we have to accept that there are state actors that are looking to take advantage of what I would describe as a volatile environment here in Australia.
Is it destabilisation? Is it about messing with our peaceful way of life? Is that what it is?
I think there are a number of reasons, but I guess, to fracture or further destabilise the cohesion of the Australian community, which again is why it is so important that we are targeting and that we are taking action and disrupting this activity as early as we can, because we know the impact that it can have, not just on sectors, particular communities within Australia, but the Australian community more broadly, our way of life.
Krissy Barrett is a cop, not a diplomat. But she walks a careful line when she's asked about Australia's relationship with China in the Pacific. It's a delicate business, and on the subject of policing and politics, she is frustratingly evasive. One of your first duties was a posting to the Solomons as a peacekeeper, so you know the Solomons pretty well. That was more than 20 years ago. Does it bother you to see the influence that China has been able to bring in that area?
What we are doing in the Pacific now, fast forward 20, 25 years later, we have over 100 members based throughout the Pacific. That is critical to safeguarding our region. The capacity building, the capability building, the partnerships, fundamental when we talk about protecting our sovereignty and the security of our region.
And yet the Solomons government does seem to be more pro-China than pro-Australia, doesn't it, these days?
We have a really good base in the Solomon Islands, so I just reiterate the work that we are doing up there is critical.
The Chinese police there have reportedly managed to convince locals to take part in a pilot fingerprinting, mass data collection, community registration program over there, which sounds like population surveillance. What do you think about that?
We are focused on continuing to provide capability support and capacity support for the Solomon Islands. We have been supporting them for many, many years in relation to the safety and security of their country.
I understand that, but I guess more specifically about this program. I mean, what did you know about that? Were you asked about that? Were you asked your opinion about that? Does it disturb you that seems to be happening and it seems to be underway?
That's a difficult one for me to talk about, other than just reinforce the work that we are doing up there and the importance of the work that we're doing.
That's all I'm going to get out of you.
Sorry. It's a really, yeah.
Do you feel like you have more work to do there?
I think there will always be ongoing work to do there. It is a constant and ongoing focus, and it's critically important. It is really important work. We're talking about, our sovereignty and the future prosperity of our country and our region.
No pressure then. But Krissy Barrett knows the role she's taken on. You've just started this massive job. Where are you going to be in 12 months' time? What are the KPIs that you've set for yourself where you will look back over the 12 months and say, well, okay, I ticked those boxes, I did okay?
I think it's, going back to having a laser-like focus on anything that threatens our sovereignty, our democracy. They're big words, they're big challenges, but it's fundamental to the way that we live our lives in this country, and we should be protecting that with everything that we have. That is what the AFP is here to do, to deliver for the community that we serve.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minute segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.